think your story is just so powerful and there's so much to learn from it. But just for the people in our audience that have been operating underground, they do want to operate in, well, some of them want to operate in the regulated market, right? There's benefits to that. You feel a little bit more secure, probably a lot more secure. You probably don't have as high a margin, but we haven't even gotten to the part of your story where you're working for multiple different operators, right? Like you've worked for Quest, Acreage, a bunch of really, really, really solid brands have come through you. And I'm just kind of curious about like, what have you gained in doing that? And what have you lost operating in the legal game?
Great question. So I have gained the ability to sleep through the night, which literally didn't start happening for me until 2011. One thing about going through that whole experience, you hear every sound, man, for a long time. You know what I mean? You're never really at rest. There's an alertness that is traumatizing, and just from going through, imagine war, from anything like that, where your reality gets shattered in a fraction of a second and it's violent. So I gained sleep. I gained the ability to be out, and I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't hide anything about weed anymore. I refuse to. My kids' teachers know what I do for a living. My mom, who still doesn't get it, but she's 82, you know what I mean? And she had to read about my weed career on the front page of the newspaper for the first time. And you know what I mean? So I gained all of that. And more people are smoking better weed than ever before. It used to be like you had to know a guy. That was really a thing to even have access to something. Like some of these strains that are commonplace, like the you know, TK or whatever. You had to know that guy for 5 years before he'd smoke that weed with you. Now anybody can smoke it. That's cool. There's not as much excellent weed because it's harder to do because of scale and price. There's no rules yet amongst the standard business rules apply, where like, man, you better pay attention because you can be taken advantage of. Contracts are only your friend if you read them and understand them, and know your stuff. I read Duff McKagan's the bass player for Guns N' Roses biography, and he was like, man, the only reason why I have any money and all these other, most of my buddies don't, is like, I learned everything I could about the business side of this. And so that I could understand and navigate that. And a lot of cannabis veterans will complain that the business side and the money side doesn't understand cannabis, which is true. But as a veteran coming into the business world, we're actually coming into their world with our thing, and it's on us to be able to show up and master a office suite on a computer, be on time and do normal rules of business and respond to emails, all the stuff that can be really a challenge for somebody who's not had to answer to anybody. I'll say that's the thing. And just keep showing up, man. They told me to go home at Mindful. The CEO told me to go home. And then the other two owners were like, just don't let her see you here. And I was like, cool. And I kept coming. You know what I mean? So just keep coming. And then the last thing, and this is important because they're, to me, and I have no problem with black market. I have no problem with gray market. And I have no problem with regulated market. But if you're in a license, in a regulated market, do yourself a favor, follow the rules 100%. Be ahead of them in compliance all the way. And that is where I've won. I know compliance. I've stayed on it. I've been ahead of it. And when there's ever been anything that was weird, I engaged whoever that regulatory body was or whoever I needed to immediately with 100% transparency and had documentation, which sounds like boring stuff, right? But that's the real. And you have some luck, keep showing up, follow the rules. You got a chance, you know?
Yeah, I think just knowing you and in hearing your story, those things resonate so well to me because it's like, I know none of that came natural to you. You built skills for 20, 30 years, and then you had to learn these new skills to play the game by the rules. And I want to echo that. If you're not going to play by the rules, don't even try.
Don't
Right? You
bother.
might as well keep a solid operation underground and not pay taxes. If you're going to do it halfway, you're worse off.
Yeah, I would agree. Early friends in medical in Colorado who didn't like quite figure out how to do it right in the beginning were like, damn, this is the best way in the world to knock zeros off your net worth that I've ever found. Like trying to quasi be legal will just make you impoverished. And you know what I mean? There's a willingness to be able to have money that you get to keep and spend and be part of your community and hold your head up high in that way. Not that them saying it's okay is makes it okay, but it sure is nice to know they're not going to take your money and to get a tax return and to not have to lie about anything in my life anymore. Like, you know, being a weed grower means you're a liar in an underground world. And I didn't like that at all. I didn't like having to lie about where I was going, what I was doing, not telling people's travel plans, all the things. So that's a lot of gifts of a new freedom.
Wrap up. I do want to bring in at least one of the people from our Kim, or I'm sorry, I'll let you pronounce your name if I got it wrong. I'm gonna ask you to come up here. Let's see here.
So is Jacoby stuck?
Yeah, I think Jacoby's stuck.
Hold on, let me see if I can get. There she goes.
Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me?
I can.
Well, first, I want to say I'm so grateful to hear your story because I absolutely did not know that that was happening. And the fact that, and if I could be very transparent, because I feel like we're all friends on this line, the fact that you're a white guy that had these experiences is God-smacking to me. My question, Bill, is I'm a cannabis accountant, and sometimes the conversations around 280E is difficult because people can't wrap their heads around, you know, having to pay at least 70% of federal taxes. How did in the early stages, how did you deal with taxes and accounting and bookkeeping?
Huge challenge. And I really didn't know what to do and where to turn to, and my lack of trust and all of the things got me in quite a bunch of, I have a pretty decent tax bill that I'm making a payment on every month. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know how to do it. And I think one of the coolest things about the equity programs and things that are going on is access to accounting. But so 280E doesn't affect consulting, because I don't have the kind of write-offs and things that really kill you in a retail situation. And the early people navigated 280E through real estate, which is kind of why the access has been so tough. It's really hard to make money in a retail situation that you don't own the real estate on, I think. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
You answered my question. So as an accountant in this space, is there any type of tips that you can give me to help your people that are going in and help them understand the consequences when it comes to accounting and taxes and just keeping good records?
You have got to be meticulous with your taxes above and beyond the way any normal business would be. All of the groups that I've worked with have been audited at one point or another, that have been in business long enough to have been audited. And you really have to be making all of your decisions based on how 280 will affect you as an owner, for sure. And that's something that you can advise them on more correctly than I can. But knowing how to grow, sell, package, market cannabis has nothing to do with knowing how to get to keep any of that money because of the tax structure. And it's really tenuous for smaller groups that don't have ways like real estate to be able to go through the taxes.
Yeah, I'll just add on to that. That 280E is a bitch. Like it sucks if you're in cannabis. I'll just go ahead and say it. I don't know what city or state you're in, but let's definitely connect after. With everything that's going on the East Coast, especially in New York and New Jersey, a little bit of Pennsylvania and everything over there. We have a ton of people in our community that are ramping up, right? From really small businesses that want to be co-ops and craft licenses to some people in our network that are going for, big manufacturing licenses in like upstate New York. And they're all looking for all of the professional services that are going to help them be successful. And something about people on the East Coast, more than any place I've ever been, is you want people from your neighborhood. You want people that you can trust. You want people that have been here that are authentic. And so happy to connect you with groups as they start to come through our community. But taxes is probably one of the most important. Taxes and accounting in general are one of the most important things for groups that have been doing it all on their own in cash for so long. That's a tough learning curve. So there's a ton of value I'm sure you could bring.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're actually in the Bronx.
Oh, let's go.
Yes.
I want to also interject that it would also be helpful for you to have your clients structure their companies in ways where, for example, on the machine side, it's a completely separate company where you're basically leasing the machines for your cannabis to plant touching thing. So there's different types of things you can do, but trying to keep everything non-plant touching that isn't plant touching in your operation as a completely different entity will be very helpful, because since it's not plant touching, those 280E laws are not applicable. They're like normal business. So
right. The pick and shovel plays are definitely going to be where the biggest runs are, especially on the East Coast.
Yep.
I have a question for you, Bill.
Okay.
So you've seen the underground market, you've seen the gray market, you've seen the legal market. What are some characteristics of groups that you think, like of the successful ones across all different markets? What are some of the characteristics that you've seen that like this group is going to be successful in what they do?
So passion for the plant combined with some business know-how, that there's definitely, and even black market, the guys that I ran with, they had Excel then. It was not, this is not, tight ship. It goes a long way, right? So but when people care about their employees, their customers, their plants, their community in a full spectrum way, like, to me, that's what full spectrum is, right? Is like hitting it on every way that you can find a way to hit, and be in that constant life cycle improvement of, hey, can we do, how can we do this better tomorrow? And focusing on getting base runs every day, rather than trying to hit home runs, right? If you get everybody in play, take care of your people are stoked to come to the workplace. You set a super high standard for how the product's handled, no matter the price point. If you honor the product correctly, there's a whole thing that channels through to the end user, in my experience, that's real and tenable. And people like can pull fake brands out that are insincere pretty quickly. And even with sincere people behind them, they don't land the same way. No, I don't know. Did that answer that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, as East Coast comes on board, there's just going to be a lot more like money, 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 money brands coming in, and money, 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 money corporations coming in. So I guess, for our audience, who are trying to get into the industry on the legal side, the question was related to like, what should they be looking for?
Right. So
should they be?
It's a choice with the way the East Coast is coming on. 98% of the players coming into this are looking at exit already, and they're not in. Okay. So are you, as your business, looking to take a ride and go on an exit? That means a lot of different things, but that means that you're going to play with money guys and be working in a pro forma world, 100% different expectation. And if you want to be a legacy player in 20 years as a craft person, then my highest recommendation is to focus on organic growth, take the least amount of money that you have to raise to get in the game, be lean, care about your product and your people, keep people. Don't let there be turnover be the reason why your weed sucks. I can't emphasize how much it has to do with the relationships of the people growing this cannabis and the entity. Yeah, that would be that is how I'm moving forward. I've done big, small, medium, and now I really look forward to a really small operation that I can affect on a daily basis and really eke little bits of quality out here and there and try to set a standard.
I mean, I think it's just super impressive that you've created over 200 SKUs of products in over 21 markets. Are you taking, are you consulting? Are you open to working with different groups still?
I am, and I have for the last 8 months just been kind of home, really. One of the costs of this industry for me personally has been like my kids are grown out. They're not 2 and 5, they're 13 and 9, and I missed it. I missed it. And so I've been trying to make up a little ground and find a way to be here with them every day, but still be in industry. And I got something up my sleeve for Colorado that's coming. And hope to be participating in some some things in California that will be some equity focused media and things, just getting attention to that. Hey, there are legacy people out here who are second, third generation that are behind some of these things that you might not know about. And yeah, so that's kind of what I got going. And I'm looking forward to.
Love it, Bill. My guy, I appreciate you making the time to
Thanks, guys.
come with us. Yeah, it was really great to hear your story. Like I said, I've known you for a bit, so I've known about your story. I even had a prep meeting with you, so I knew a little bit more about your story. And today I still learn more about it, and it's just so impactful. And I'm glad you were able to share it with us.